The single most powerful asset we all have is our mind. If it is trained well, it can create enormous wealth in what seems to be an instant. I'm going to teach you the top 6 lessons from Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. Robert had 2 dads, one rich, one poor. His poor dad was his biological father, and his rich dad was his friend's dad. His poor dad was highly educated but did not understand wealth. His rich dad wasn't highly educated but really understood wealth. Both dads would teach Robert different things about wealth. Without meaning to, Robert's poor dad was actually teaching Robert how to become poor. This is because people can only teach you how to get to where they've got. Robert decided to listen to his rich dad and now has a positive monthly cash flow of more than $2 million. Rich Dad Poor Dad is made up of all the lessons that Robert's rich dad taught him. Here are the top 6. Lesson 1. A person's wealth is measured by how long they could survive if they stopped working immediately. Commonly, people measure wealth by the number they have in the bank. If the number is big, they feel they are wealthy. This isn't a good way to measure. You should measure a person's wealth by how long they could survive if they stopped working immediately. What does this mean? Before answering that, I need to quickly explain what passive income is. Passive income is any income which after initial work will keep coming to you without any additional effort. It will come to you even if you slept all day. Examples of passive income are rent you get from a property that you own and then rent out, ads from YouTube videos, money made from online courses, affiliate marketing. You could set up a business and pay others to run it for you. There are absolutely loads. I'm going to do a whole video on passive income soon, but if you search YouTube, you find a lot of videos that will give you ideas about how to make it. Passive income is the most important thing to becoming wealthy. Warren Buffett said, "If you do not find a way to make money while you sleep, you will work until you die." So that's passive income. Now onto the example. Jane and Tom both have £1,000 in savings. You might think this means they both have the same amount of wealth. However, that is not the case. Let's look at their monthly cash flow. Tom has £0 passive income and spends £500 a month. So if he stopped working, he would lose £500 a month. Jane has £600 passive income and spends £500 a month. Even if she stops working, she would still gain £100 a month. Imagine Tom and Jane both stop working immediately. It would be 2 months until Tom runs out of money. However, Jane would be fine forever. In fact, she'd be saving £100 a month. If you get your passive income to be higher than your expenses, then you don't have to work ever again. You are out of the rat race. There's an online game created by Robert Kiyosaki called Cashflow Classic. The goal in the game is to get your passive income greater than your expenses. It's completely free to play. I've probably played it over 100 times to keep the system of becoming wealthy in my head. If I ever get confused, I play the game to clear my head and remind me what I should be focusing on. Play it until you can easily get out of the rat race every time. If you can't do it on the game, then you'll never do it in real life. Also, you can buy a board game version. I'll put links for both in the description. Lesson 2. An asset is anything that puts money in your pocket. A liability is anything that takes money out of your pocket. Most people get confused with assets and liabilities. Robert says, the rich buy assets. The poor only have expenses. The middle class buy liabilities they think are assets. The way Robert Kiyosaki defines assets and liabilities is different to the way an accountant would. Robert's way is much more practical and useful. He defines them simply by saying an asset is anything that puts money in your pocket, a liability is anything that takes money out of your pocket. Most people think their home is an asset. However, if they are paying each month for a mortgage, then it's in fact a liability because it's constantly taking money out of their pocket. Products like a phone or computer that constantly go down in value the longer you have them are also liabilities by this definition. Examples of an asset would be a property that you rent out and get monthly passive income from. For me, this YouTube channel is an asset. I get income from having this channel. Spend your money on things that will help you make a passive income and put money in your pocket rather than spending money on liabilities. Spend your money on learning about passive income and wealth rather than buying liabilities like a new phone or a car. Buy audiobooks, Rich Dad Poor Dad, The Richest Man in Babylon, Life Leverage. Buying liabilities traps you, while learning about wealth will free you. I'll put links for those books in the description. Lesson 3. Don't trade time for money, trade time for learning. Trading time for money is one of the worst things you can do. Yet the vast majority of people do this, and they don't realise how detrimental it is to their wealth and their overall lives. Time is our most valuable commodity. Time only ever goes down, but your wealth can easily go up. Here's a story from the book. Robert's rich dad gives Robert a job working for him, but pays him a really small amount. Robert works the job for 2 weeks and eventually cracks and storms into his rich dad's office and explains how it's not fair he's getting paid so little and demands a raise. He wants double his current pay. The rich dad is pleased that Robert is unhappy with his wage. He says that's the first stage to becoming wealthy. Rather than giving Robert a raise, Rich Dad tells him from now on he will work for nothing. Robert is confused and annoyed, but his rich dad explains to Robert that he must never trade his time for money and only learning, otherwise he will never become rich. Robert works for his rich dad for free, but is constantly learning from him everything he knows about wealth. A month passes and his rich dad offers Robert a huge raise, the same amount as Robert's father is being paid. Robert says no. Robert's rich dad triples the offer. Robert still says no. He values his time much more highly now and only wants to invest his time in learning. Robert doesn't want to get into the habit of being rewarded for trading his time for money. So trade your time for learning. The more you learn about and understand wealth, the wealthier you will become. Lesson 4. Never say, I can't afford it. Robert's rich dad would never allow him to say, I can't afford it. He insisted Robert instead say, how can I afford it? When you say, I can't afford it, you're instructing your brain to stop trying and you'll never have the money. When you say, how can I afford it, you switch your brain on and start trying to solve the problem. You begin looking around for solutions and thinking of new ways that you can make money. One of the most important skills for becoming wealthy is to be resourceful. Keep asking, how can I afford it? And this will help train your resourcefulness. Every day your brain is constantly bombarded with information, a lot of which you don't need. If your brain processed it all, it would be a huge waste of energy. To combat this, there is a part of the brain called the reticular activating system, which basically chooses how to filter the information in front of you, dependent on what the subconscious thinks is important. A perfect example of this is when you buy a new car, you begin to see that car everywhere. The amount of these cars on the road hasn't increased, but your filter has changed to notice them. By constantly asking yourself, how can I afford it? Your subconscious mind will see finding the answer as more important. The question will be taken up by your subconscious, and when an opportunity to make money comes up to you, you will notice it much easier and seize the opportunity. Lesson 5. The power of the compound effect. Here's a question for you. Would you rather have £3 million right now or a penny that doubles every day for 31 days? Unsure? What if I told you after 10 days the penny was worth £10.24? Now you're pretty certain on the 3 million, right? Well, the penny keeps doubling. Move forward to day 20 and a penny is only worth £10,485. On day 28 it's worth over 2.6 million. It's not until the final 3 days you see the power of the compound effect. Day 29, 5.3 million. Day 30, over 10.6 million. Day 31, it would be worth 21 million. If you left the penny just another 6 days, it would be worth £1.37 billion. So how does this help you? What you should do is try to exclusively work towards things that help all the other days that follow it. One of the easiest ways you can do is what I've been banging on about and start building passive income. Once you've built your passive income stream, it will keep working for you even if you start working on something else. The other way is to spend time each day learning because in the future you'll be able to make much more effective decisions. Here's a simple change you can make today that will help all of the days following it. Think about how long you spend on your phone. Now go on all the apps and turn notifications off for everything. Turn off Snapchat, Facebook, messages, everything. Spend the time you would have spent on your phone listening to an audiobook. I'd highly recommend this one, but whichever one interests you most. Two really popular ones are How to Win Friends and Influence People and The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. The time before was wasted. Now you'll be learning so much that you will benefit every day afterwards. If you keep this up, think about where you will be in a year's time. Einstein called the compound effect the 8th wonder of the world. So learn to use it. Lesson 6. Mind your own business. Most people spend their time working for other people. The majority of the population is not working for themselves. This is fine, although I'd highly recommend taking your finances into your own hands. I understand that working for yourself is not for everyone. However, you need to remember that your job doesn't mean 100% security. Things happen and people lose their jobs. Never spend your life working for a job where you can be replaced in a week. So what should you do? While you're working at your job, you should also mind your own business. Start learning about wealth and putting aside money to invest. The best investment you can make is in yourself. You should spend at least 10% of your income on educating yourself on wealth. You will earn back so much more than you spend because of what you learn in the books and courses. I know when you work a job, you can easily get drawn into caring so much about the company. I used to work at IKEA and I really did care about IKEA doing well. I spent nearly a year of my life working there and probably sold £100,000 worth of items, but in total I was only paid about £4,000. You have to make your goals the number one priority in your life. You need to be working at something outside your job that is helping you achieve something that you actually want. You're either working towards making your dream a reality, or you're working towards making someone else's dream a reality. Don't spend all your energy on your job. So to summarise, a person's wealth is measured by how long they could survive if they stopped working immediately. An asset is anything that puts money in your pocket. A liability is anything that takes money out of your pocket. Don't trade time for money, trade time for learning. Never say, I can't afford it. Remember the power of the compound effect. Mind your own business.